First up this week, the Cannes Lions Festival of Creativity has been the benchmark for the global creative community since its establishment in 1954, a long time ago. A number of South Africa's creative heavyweights will be judging in various categories at this year's event. Fran Luckin is with us, Grey Africa's Chief Creative Officer. She's judging the print category. With her, Dentsu Aegis Chief Executive Officer Ku Govender will be judging in the media category, and joining them, Moteo Matsao, Chief Sales and Marketing Officer for Stir Kiniko. And this is the interesting one, the official representatives for Cannes in South Africa, but we'll also talk about a competition for young creatives. To all of you, a very warm welcome. Fran, as the seasoned Cannes visitor, because you've been there a lot longer than many of us, explain to us why an event like this is so important to the industry. Give us some perspective.
Well, it's the premier communications and creativity event in the globe. So there are entries from countries, most of the countries all over the world. There's tens of thousands of entries. There's a major presence from most of the technology companies now too, which are major players in the communication field, so Google, Facebook, Twitter. And it really is a coming together of people from all over the world to view the latest trends in creativity, communication, innovation. So as a festival, it's evolved from being about advertising to being about creativity and innovation. And so you can really see the cutting edge of what's happening in tech, in communication, in product design and development.
Okay, we'll get to some of the trends that you're hoping to see when you go this year in a moment. But Ku, you'll be judging in the media category. What would you be looking at as a judge in that particular space?
This is my novice, so this is the first time that I would be judging.
So it's a big initiation for you, yes?
Very big initiation. So from a media perspective, it's also in terms of what the trends are. And for me, the trends in media is people-based marketing. And, who am I? Are you speaking to me? Are you influencing me? So those are the things that I would be looking for. But with that
technological overlay.
With that technological overview, which is data, data being so important. But with that, I think comes simplicity, comes efficiency, comes basically, am I actually engaging or immersing myself in this piece of work? And is it going to give the client quantifiable results?
And as a client, Moteo, and we'll talk about the young lions in just a moment, but as someone who would use an advertising agency, critical that they are up to date and up to speed with those trends. What would you look at this process from a different perspective? How would you manage that?
Well, look, as a client, I think, Jeremy, I would hope that my agency is up with the trends. They know what's happening in the world. I would hope as a client that the creative brains and the strategic brains at my agency are aware of what's happening globally. Every client wants to set the pace. That everybody wants to set the standards of advertising or of communication. So I think it's important that South African creatives participate in this sort of platform, because also we get trends from around the world and we set our own trends. I mean, we've seen in the last couple of years South Africa is really on the forefront of some of the categories.
In the film space where you're now operating, what would some of the trends be influencing advertising there?
I think the big thing that has come out for us recently is experiential. So in the film space, yes, you've got the big screen, you've got the advantage of a captive audience. Nobody's going anywhere; they're going to see your ad. But interaction. So
how you can add value to it.
How you can add value to the on-screen experience. So fortunately for us, we've got 4 years. So there's opportunities of tying in the on-screen message with experiential marketing in the foyer or even in the cinema before or after the movie starts.
Fran, let me be a little provocative here, if I can. You're judging a medium this year that's dead, isn't it?
So yes, I am. Thank you, Jeremy. I am president of the print and publishing jury, and yes, that's a very interesting question. So foremost in my mind is going there to see where the new direction. It's a category that's reinventing itself. So what are the new directions? How is print reinventing itself in a digital era, in an era where if it didn't happen on social media, it didn't happen? The Grand Prix winner last year was for Burger King, and it was a classic example of a press ad that was designed to create as much publicity on social media as possible, and it worked incredibly well. And so that was a great winner because it showed how you could use print and publishing in our digitally enabled world to create as much PR as possible.
So that hybridization is
Yes.
absolutely
Yes.
critical. It's not going to work
Yeah.
alone as
No.
a single entity. And from a media perspective, that's what you'd also be looking for as well. Platforms have got to start cooperating, integrating and
Absolutely.
working together.
And speaking to one another and obviously complementing one another as well. I think that's the most important thing. And especially in the digital economy.
Yeah.
Young Lions, smart, young South African minds that you have put a call out to come up with something brilliant.
Right.
Why is this important? Why do we need to nurture these young people in this particular space?
Yeah,
So they can become famous like
absolutely.
Fran and Koo, yes.
Absolutely, that's what we want. But look, I think the creative pipeline is not going to take care of itself. It may, but it's a good thing to help it. So as Ster-Kinekor and as Cinemark, we've been participating in this Young Lions initiative for a while now. And the idea really is to grow the industry. It's an interesting question. You asked Fran, isn't she judging a dead category? A few years ago, the word was out that cinema is dying.
Yeah.
And it's important that for the long term, cinema starts affiliating itself with mainstream media, and how best to do so than to also sponsor and be involved with the young talent coming up. So Young Lions ticks that box, but it also ticks the strategic box. So as Ster-Kinekor, we've committed ourselves to development, not only in advertising but also in film.
What type of task would you set them?
So they have been given a task already, and that is they've been given a brief, and they have to execute the brief within 48 hours and submit the brief, and there's a judging process that will go through.
And the difficult thing is it's a film. They have to shoot a film in
Yeah.
48 hours. And it's been an interesting process because a lot of our young'uns have... I'm just a year too old for it. You have to be 30.
Yes.
So a lot of our
We'll
young...
give you that one,
Thank
Fran.
you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you. A lot of our young'uns have taken part in... For them, it's been an experience in going, oh, I didn't know how long it took to make a film.
Yeah.
I didn't know how long it took to edit something. So it's been a really interesting process for them.
Very quickly, why do you think it's important to foster creativity among younger people in the ad industry? You spoke about, the creative pipeline. It isn't going to take care of itself unless there are things like this around, I guess.
I think that young people are the lifeblood of... I know that, Q, massive cliche, but young people really are the lifeblood of our industry because they have a fresh perspective on things. They haven't grown up jaded. They are often early adopters of things like new technology and new ways to use technology. They're fearless. And it's, we need an inflow of younger people with different ways of doing things because we can get stuck in our ways, especially when we're 30.
And this industry needs to be injected with new energies as well.
Yeah, we edit all the cliches out of... No, we don't. All the cliches stay in the program. Koo, what about representation on the juries themselves? How important is that in order to achieve the objectivity of fair judgment?
So I was very pleased to notice that from last year, the female representation from the Cannes judging perspective was increased to 40%. But looking at it from a South African perspective, I think there's a fairly good representation of women. My encouragement would be that we need to see more women of colour representing the Cannes judging panel as well.
Matteo, you nodding your head there?
Yeah, look, I agree with Koo completely. As a partner to Cannes, these are some of the points that we will raise to Cannes with the Cannes office because every market has its dynamics. Of course, South Africa, now we've ticked the woman box. We need now to tick the people of color box.
Especially women.
Especially women of color. So we have, as you know, a very diverse society in South Africa. And excellence in creativity cannot be focused in just one sector.
Anyone would think you feel fairly passionately about this.
Extremely
just taking it.
Is it interesting? I've got an interesting anecdote from last year. I was a judge on the outdoor panel last year, and there was a female judge there with a very young baby. And the one evening we were judging quite late, and she was battling to get him to sleep, and so she brought him into the judging room, and it was lovely. I think it's the first time there's ever been a baby on the jury panel, and he was strict. He was tougher judge than all of us.
And I also say from the Cannes perspective, it's nice to see that they have a category, the Glass Lions, which is mostly gender inequality, which is a really nice category that they have for these issues.
Ultimately, the Cannes organisers have a very, very difficult job organising juries. So they've done a great job in getting more female representation. And I guess every year it's a case of rejigging and fine-tuning, because it is difficult to assemble a jury panel. And it's very, very difficult to find the right representation.
So you'll be in dark rooms judging. You'll also be frolicking along the croisette. I look forward to your interpretation and your report back, guys. Thank you very much indeed.
Thanks very much.
Appreciate
Thank you.
Thanks.
Let's stay with inspiring creative work, and this one's been hailed as one of the best marketing projects ever. According to the Dove Global Beauty and Confidence Report, 68% of women cannot identify with the images they see in ads. Building on its reputation for award-winning campaigns that challenge perceptions of beauty, the brand, alongside the Danish agency Mindshare, really wanted to drive the point home, and what they came up with was called Image Hack.
We must set the world on a new course.
As an industry, we play a part in gender presentations in the media. When we use images that don't reflect society, images that portrays women as objects, we dictate unrealistic ideals. When 68% of all women can't identify themselves with the images they see in advertising, it's time for change. By hacking the industry from the inside, we can hack women's self-image. This is Image Hack.